automating CloudFormation deployments the DevOps way with AWS Git Sync and GitHub Actions. Let's do it. Tech fam, welcome back to the channel. Like always, we're going to get straight into the lab and build this solution. But first, a little background. At the last reInvent, AWS introduced a bunch of new releases, one of which was CloudFormation Git Sync. Git Sync provides remote management of stacks, enabling customers to synchronize their stacks from CloudFormation templates stored in a remote Git repository. You can enable CloudFormation Git Sync through the AWS Console, through the CLI, or through SDKs. With Git Sync, you can manage your CloudFormation stacks using source control. It works with GitHub, GitHub Enterprise, GitLab, and BitBucket. Links to documentation, launch blogs, and videos will be in the description of this video. And now, without further ado, let's get into the lab. Okay, Tech fam, we're going to kick it off by creating a new repo. As you can see, I am inside my GitHub account here, and I just need to create a new repo so we can work this project. So I'm just click new here, and I'm just going to name this new Git Sync project. It's available, it will be created. I ain't gonna put no description, but you can. We're gonna make this repo public. I'm gonna go ahead and add the README file, and we're gonna create. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is go create a new security token. So I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go to settings. Scroll down to developer settings. And I'm going to go to personal access tokens. Now they got this new fine-grained token where you can select individual permissions for your token. I'm going to go ahead and go with classic token because I don't feel like you have to click each permission and allow it or disallow it. We're just going to generate the personal access token, classic. What is this token being used for? We can make it expire, and I'm going to leave it at 30. Define the access for the personal token. So go ahead and boom, boom. Now you want to follow the principle of least permission and only give the token what you need access to update repos, pull requests, merge, and all that. But we're just gonna go ahead and give it everything. All right, we got a token here. Boom, we're gonna copy that token, and we're gonna put that token in a safe place where only I can access it. Now that I have my repo and my token, what I want to do is go ahead and clone this locally so I can work it on my machine. So I'm going to go ahead and get the URL, and then we're going to open up Visual Studio Code. I'm using Visual Studio Code. You may or may not be using Visual Studio Code, but you know what it is. I'm also using WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, because I'm working on a Windows 11 machine. So now what I want to do, we're going to do a git clone and clone that repo over here. Now we're going to, what was the name of that thing? New Git. So we're going to cd over to that project. We are inside that project now. Why does it have that? All right, go ahead and check the status here. On branch main, the branch is up to date, and that's what we want to see. So looks like we are good to go. That's all done. We need to create a file in this repo. Where are we at here?
Here we go. We got a README. And it's going to be our CloudFormation template that we're going to deploy. And so we're going to say, so we made our CloudFormation template, just named it CFN template. And so right here, you would go right ahead and create your CloudFormation template, copy and paste whatever you got to do. We're going to go ahead and paste in a pre-made little template that we've created. Okay, that looks good. Right here, we're going to say, let's change the tag to name. What is this? Our Git sync subnet. And the value is going to be this all looks good. But when you're creating CloudFormation templates, obviously you could probably do typos, it could be spaces in the wrong place, not formatted correctly. So you always want to be able to check your CloudFormation template to see if it looks good. So we're going to use cflint for that, and I have already installed cflint on my machine. If you have not installed cflint and you want to lint your CloudFormation templates, then you would need to go ahead and install that. So first, I need to get over to my. Okay, now I'm going to just check this. Okay. I'm going to lint that thing, so it's going to be CFN and then my, what do I call it? CFN template. And the command returned nothing, so that means it's good. So if there was something wrong, let's say I messed up and put 2 S's in that tags, and I ran that command again, it's going to say, hey, you got an invalid property up there. Git sync property tags. Did you mean tags? We're going to go ahead and remove that S. We're going to run the CFN lint again. It likes it. Let's move on. Next, we are going to create a deployment file. And that's going to be, we'll just say deployment -file.yaml. Okay, so we got our deployment file here. This file can be either JSON or YAML, and it's going to contain parameters and values that manage the CloudFormation stack. GitSync will monitor this file for changes, and when the changes are committed to the repository, the stack that is associated with this file will automatically update. And so it's going to have key value pairs in here that tell the GitSync the state of the file. So we're going to say template-file-path with a colon, and then you give the path of your CloudFormation template. If we had parameters in our CloudFormation template, we would have another line that said parameters. But since we don't have to worry about that. And if we had tags in our CloudFormation template, we would have another one that said tags. And we do have tags. And so what we would put here, the tags attribute, and then we would fill in the properties, the name, and the key and the value. All right, we need to create another file. And this is going to be the GitHub Actions workflow file, and we'll use that to monitor the repo. So when a pull request happens, it triggers the flow. We're going to have to actually create some folders. So the first folder will be .github. All right, and inside that folder, we're going to do workflows. And inside that folder, we're going to create a file that is named pull request.yaml. This is where we're going to put the GitHub Actions workflow, and it's going to look something like this. So the name of the action is going to be pull request workflow. It's going to trigger on a pull request, and it's going to run the job of the CloudFormation linter, and it's going to check the YAML code that is within the pull request for validation. If the code is not valid, it will not allow the user to merge that pull request. If the code checks out and it will allow a merge of the pull request. So with this action, you're making sure that no code enters your main repo or no pull request gets merged with your main repo that is not valid, so we don't have no accidents. So now that that is done, we can go ahead and commit our configs. So let's check the status. Git status, you see we got 3 objects. They're the templates and our folder GitHub. We want to obviously add those. Git add -a, and if we do git status again, we'll see that all 3 of those have been added. Git commit -m, and this is add git sync configs. All right, we got to create a new branch, so we got to do git switch -c, and we need the branch name to be git sync update. Git sync update branch, do git status, and we're on branch git sync update branch, so we're on the new branch. We'll just add a 1 to that. Then we're going to say git status. Okay, got it. And then we're going to do git add git status again. It's there. This is going to be git update branch. Okay, I need to push this to my remote location, which is on GitHub. And so this is going to be git push origin, and I want it to be my git sync update branch. So it's going to be git sync, and I'm going to hit enter. And it's asking me for my username for my GitHub account, since I haven't already set these as environment variables or made this connection. So I'm just going to give it to them. And now it wants the password. And your password is going to be that token we just created earlier. Boom. And the token got put. The push happened. The sync happened. Let's do a git status here. Oh, did I spell it wrong? I do that a lot. On branch, git sync update branch, nothing to commit. Okay, so we've already committed our changes from our update branch, and now we need to do a pull request to main. So if we go over to GitHub, and we refresh here, we can see that on our project, it still only has the README. This is the main, as you can see here. If we go here, you can see that there is another branch, but main only has that README file. We're going to do the pull request to change that. And actually, if we check the Git sync branch, you'll see that it's got everything. So I'm going to go over here, and actually I'm going to wait. I'm not going to do the pull request yet because we got some other setup we need to do. So let's do that. Let's go back to VS Code. Now we need to head on over to the AWS Console. And the first thing we need to do here is make a developer tools connection to GitHub. And I think it used to be called CodeStar connection, and the nomenclature changes all the time. So we'll just call it a connection. But to find it, you need to go to code commit. Any of the developer tools will get you there. So we'll just click on code commit. And we're going to go down to settings and down to connections. And this is where we'll create our connection. So we're going to go right here, just say create connection. Our provider is GitHub. And as you can see, you can do BitBucket, GitLab, and others. And we're going to create a GitHub app connection. We're going to name this. The connection's name is going to be new Git sync project. And we're going to press connect to GitHub. All right, we got new Git sync project. We are going to install a new app specifically for this project. And it's going to have it's going to be specific to a repo. So we're going to install it. It's going to bring us over to our GitHub, which we were already signed into. And we want this connection to only pertain to select repositories. And we're going to only make it go to this repository. Let's see. Git sync project right here. That's the only one. And we're going to say install. It's going to bring us back over to developer tools. And we can see that we have a GitHub app number right there. We're going to say connect. The status of that connection is available now. There's a name, there's a provider, it has an owner. All right, no tags. So that is done. We have our GitHub connection. The next thing we need to create is an IAM role that will deploy the CloudFormation template. So let's go to IAM. And we're going to go to roles. We're going to create a role. And it's going to be AWS service role for CloudFormation. Next. Not going to attach any policies there. We're just going to go ahead and hit next. We're going to name this role new Git sync demo role. All right, and there's a trust policy that's created automatically, and we don't need to tag it. We're going to create the role. New role created. All right, let's view it. Okay, new Git sync demo role. It does not have any policies because we didn't add any. We're going to add an inline policy, but we got to create it first. So we're going to create the inline policy. We're going to do it in JSON, and just going to copy a predefined JSON template. And so this gives CloudFormation permission to create these specific resources, a VPC, a subnet, describe VPCs, describe subnets, delete VPC, delete subnet, modify subnet attribute, create tags because we have some tags, and modify attributes for CloudFormation. All right, and there it is again, just in case you need to copy it. Gonna go next. You could add pre-canned high-level policies, but we always want to try to follow the principle of least privilege where we can, and so we only need to give the system or the connection the permissions it needs to actually do the work we want it to do. So we're going to call this policy new git sync, and then it's going to be demo role in policy, so we know the difference. We're going to create the policy. New git sync demo role policy. It's an inline, and it has our JSON with our permissions. So that looks good. The next thing we need to do is head on over to CloudFormation. So I'll go over to CloudFormation, and we're going to create a new stack. So we're going to say create stack here with new resources. And we're going to say that the template is ready, but instead of using the actual template, we're going to say sync from GitHub, which, as you can see, is a new feature. You can read that, and then we'll move to the next window. We're going to name this stack the Git Sync project ought to work. Where it says deployment file creation, if you remember, we created our own deployment file within our repo, so we're going to say I am providing my own file in my repository. Template definition, we're going to link to a GitHub repository because this is a new one. We didn't have one linked previously. And we're going to select GitHub as the provider, and we're going to choose our connection, there it is, new Git Sync project that we created previously. The repo is the new Git Sync project, which we allowed in our connection only. The branch is going to be main. So when a pull request or an update happens on main, we want to trigger this sync. The development file path, if you remember, we also created a dev file, a development file, and we need the path to it. So let's go to VS Code and see what the path is. And it's going to be deployment-file.yaml is the name. So let's go back over to here, and we're just going to put in here this. All you need to do is put the name of the file, deployment-file.yaml. And for this one, we are going to create a new IAM role that is attached to this sync. And we're going to name that IAM role new Git Sync project, stack role. And we're going to go next. All right. Right here where it's asking for permissions in the IAM role, we're going to select that IAM role we created earlier, which is this new Git Sync demo role. And we're going to leave all of the defaults here for rollback and policy, and we don't need to make any changes there. Next. And you can review the settings you have placed in place. Come down and we're going to say submit. All right, now you can see the status of your stack. So this is the new Git Sync project stack. We are in the Git Sync tab here, and it's showing us the status. Git Sync is enabled. We've got the deployment-file as our path. The repository sync status has been initiated. We're on main branch from GitHub, and that's the repo. Right now, there are no sync events because we have not done a pull request. So we're all set up now for Git Sync. Now let's go back over to our repo locally here, and let's just check all of our code and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. That way we don't get any errors right off the bat. So the first file we're going to check is our pull request.yaml, and we know that it is named pull request flow 1, and on a pull request it is going to use the CloudFormation linter to check the template file for errors, and if there are no errors it will pass successfully. Our path is the command is going to be cfn-lint -t, and the path of the file, which is cfn-template.yaml, cfn-template.yaml. That is correct. So we like it. Then we're going to actually go to that template. We're going to see that we got a CloudFormation template. We put some resources in it. We've named them. All the parameters look good. We already linted this manually, and we found that there were no errors. So we're confident this is going to work. Now let's look at our deployment file. It has the template path, cfn-template.yaml, and it's got a couple of tags. Those look good. So now what we're going to do is make sure that we pushed all our changes. Let's do git status. And we got 2 changes that we need to add. So we're going to say git add. We're going to check that those got added. They are green now. Now we're going to do git commit -m, and we're going to leave a comment. Final check. Complete. All right, that looks good. Now we got to push these changes to our update branch. So we're going to say git push origin, and it is git sync -update. Git sync -update branch. Boom. We got to put the name of our GitHub account username, and then we're going to put our token in. And push those changes. That looks good. Let's go check it out over on GitHub. Make sure everything is everything. Here, I'm going to go to, so this is main. Let's go take a look at our update branch. Update branch has been updated just now, a minute ago. Final check complete. So we know that is up to date. Now we can go through our pull request. So we're going to go over here. We're going to compare and pull requests. We're going to compare this branch. It says it's able to be merged. That's our git sync update branch, and we're going to merge it in the main if everything is cool. So we're going to go down here and say create pull request. It's going to start some checks. One of those checks, it being if I have a rule for specific reviewers, and the other one is our CloudFormation linter is going to check the code to make sure there's no problems before it allows to merge. So we'll wait for that check to complete. And you can see the details of the check in the GitHub Actions while it's happening. Looks like something has gone. Oh no, there we go. I just needed to update. So it says all checks have been passed. But then I go back up. Let's go back over here and do a refresh. And it told me the provisioning failed, but you can see that the stack creation completed. And if I go to events, it said create complete. There was no error. So it looked like we had an error on GitHub or git sync. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back over to GitPod. We're going to go ahead and merge that pull request and confirm merge. Pull request successfully merged. We're gonna go. Let's go back over to CloudFormation and refresh. And now it shows provisioning status succeeded. So that's interesting. As you can see, the latest sync events here. We started a sync event, uploaded the template file. It created a change set. The change set created successful. The change set got executed and succeeded. We can go over to change sets and see that change set right here. This was the change set ID. We don't have any current. Were there any outputs? We didn't put any outputs or parameters. We can see the template right here. And that looks right. And the events carried out successfully. So there you have it. Now we are in line with GitSync. We have a pipeline set up so that anyone who makes any changes to this repo and they perform a pull request to merge those changes into the main, it's going to run those checks and update the stack. So let's demonstrate that. So let's go to our CloudFormation template and let's add a resource that does not exist already. And before we do that, we can actually go look at these resources. Here we created a subnet and a VPC called GitSync VPC. So let's go back over to AWS and let's just go look at that subnet. Let's go to VPC. And if we look at VPC, we can see the GitSync VPC. If we go to subnets, we can see the GitSync subnet. So the resources are there verified. Now we're going to add, why don't we just add a second subnet? Let's copy this. And the second subnet is going to be called GitSync subnet 2. And the CIDR block will be go ahead and do a git status and git status. It looks good. We're going to commit it. Okay, then we're going to do a git update branch. We're going to put in our username and we're going to put in our token. Okay, the push was successful. We're going to go to the new GitSync. We're going to do a pull request. New pull request. Compare the GitSync update branch. We made the change. Create the pull request. Create pull request. And it is running the check. Check passed successfully. We're going to go ahead and merge that pull request. Confirm the merge. Pull request successfully merged. We're going back to CloudFormation. We're going to hit the refresh. We're going to go over to GitSync and we're going to see that a new change request should be in progress. Change set creation in progress. It is 10:02. It's 10:02. So we're working. Change set creation is still in progress. Let that roll. It's going to, you can see that the provisioning status is now in progress as well. The change execution went into progress. The stack update succeeded. The provisioning status you can see now is succeeded. Let's do a refresh. There, it refreshed itself. The GitSync project update was complete. And now we can go over to the VPC and subnet and hit refresh, and we should see 2 subnets, Git Sync 1, Git Sync here, and Git Sync 2. So that worked out perfectly. And Git Sync kept up with the changes that we made. And so now we have a nice little pipeline for continuous integration and development via this repo. If we can go in here and delete some of these resources or add more resources, update the repo, do a pull request from GitHub. As long as it succeeds, CloudFormation will do a change set, update the stack, and everything will be everything, and the pipeline will flow perfectly. So there you have it.
It's been a blast building with you, but we're going to bring this one on in. And if you got value from this video, like, comment, subscribe to show your appreciation and to keep this type of content in production. And until the next video, Tech Fam, peace.